I should have known something was off the moment my mom called me that morning. She never phoned before noon unless she wanted something. Her voice came through the speaker sharp and impatient, like she was already annoyed with whatever answer I was about to give. "Emily," she said, not even bothering to say hi, "we need you here by 4. And don't forget to bring snacks for the kids. Real snacks. Not that cheap organic stuff you buy. Please subscribe to our channel and tell us in comments from where are you watching this video." I closed my eyes. There it was. Not a request. A command. I was 31 years old, with a full-time job, an apartment I paid for myself, and a life I'd carefully built away from their constant demands. But to my family, I was still the default babysitter, maid, therapist, and punching bag. My sister Lauren, 2 years younger than me, was their golden deity, queen of chaos, mother of 4 under 10, and apparently the only person on earth who deserved rest. I cleared my throat. "I'm actually not free today. I told you I had overtime this week." Mom scoffed loudly. "Overtime? Emily, don't act dramatic. Lauren needs a break. She's overwhelmed. Unlike you, she actually has responsibilities." "Mom, I have responsibilities too." "Don't start," she snapped. "Your sister is exhausted. She needs you." The way she said you wasn't gratitude. It was ownership, like I belonged to her, like I didn't have a right to say no. I looked at the stack of project files waiting on my desk. I had stayed up half the night finishing presentations for Monday. My eyes were burning. I could barely think. "I can't come," I repeated gently. "I'm exhausted. I need sleep." The silence on her end was so sharp I could feel it in my jaw. Then the venom dropped. "If you're not going to babysit your sister's 4 kids," she said, her voice low and cold, "then don't even come. Don't bother showing your face here anymore." My heart thudded. "Mom, it's 1 day. 1 day?" she snapped. "Your sister gives so much to this family, and you do nothing, absolutely nothing. All we ask, is a few hours with your nieces and nephews, and you act like we're asking for a kidney." I swallowed hard, gripping the edge of my desk. "I just need 1 day to myself." "Oh, how selfish," she hissed. "Lauren is crying right now. Do you understand? She's crying because she can't depend on her own sister." In the background, I could hear Lauren's voice, not crying, just whining dramatically. "I just need to rest, Mom. I can't do anything with these kids. Emily better come." Mom came back on the line. "If you're not going to help your sister, then don't even think about walking through that door tonight. We won't have selfishness at our table." The table. The family dinner I had been preparing for all week. My 1 day to just sit down with people, eat something warm, and breathe. Gone. Thrown away because I didn't want to be used. I felt a familiar ache rise in my chest. The ache I always felt when they compared me to Lauren. She had 4 kids with 3 different men, no job, constant drama. But they worshipped her. They bailed her out. They paid her rent. They defended her even when she was wrong. They called her our baby, our treasure, our delicate one. Me? I was the strong one, which meant I wasn't allowed to fall apart. I wasn't allowed to need anything. I was only allowed to give. I hung up the phone quietly, knowing the text storms would follow. They did. From Mom, "Lauren needs you. Stop being difficult." From Dad, "If you can't support family, then what good are you?" From Lauren, "OMG, why are you doing this to me? I haven't slept in days. Get over here." From Mom again, "Don't come if you're going to be selfish." I put my phone on silent and sat down on my couch, staring at the wall. Their words weren't surprising, just painfully familiar. Every time I said no, I was punished. Every time Lauren said no, she was comforted. I spent the whole afternoon spiraling between anger, shame, and exhaustion. Somewhere in the middle of it, I fell asleep sitting up. When I woke up, it was 6:30, dark outside. My stomach growled. I hadn't eaten since breakfast. And then I noticed the voicemail icon on my phone. 3 messages. The first was Mom. "You've disappointed us. We might as well forget you're part of this family." The second was Dad. This is unbelievable, Emily. Your mother is crying now. Lauren is devastated. We expected better of you. The third was a shock. Lauren, screaming, "You ruined everything! Now Mom and Dad are stuck watching my kids because you refused to come. They're saying it's my fault, but it's your fault because you said, no, you're supposed to help me. You always help me." Her voice cracked. "You're a terrible sister." I put the phone down. Terrible sister. I had heard that my whole life. Whenever I didn't let them use me, whenever I tried to have boundaries, whenever I dared to be tired. 3 hours later, out of morbid curiosity, I checked their Facebook pages. Mom had posted a photo, Lauren crying dramatically on the couch, the 4 kids climbing over my parents, Dad writing something angrily on a notepad. The caption, "Some people just don't care about family anymore." I felt something break inside me, not in a dramatic way, not like the explosive pain I used to feel. This was quieter, still, cold, a realization, a truth I had ignored for too long. They didn't love me. They loved what I did for them, and if I wasn't useful, I was disposable. My chest stopped aching, my stomach stopped twisting. Everything inside me steadied. For the first time in my life, I wasn't desperate for their approval. I wasn't scared of losing them. I wasn't trying to prove I was worth something. I finally understood. I didn't lose a family today. I lost the chains they kept around me. Mom said if I wasn't going to babysit, I shouldn't come. Fine. I wouldn't come. But I also wouldn't let them rewrite the story. And I definitely wouldn't let Lauren get away with using me like a free nanny anymore. They wanted a reaction. They wanted guilt. They wanted control. But what they were going to get was consequences. And I knew exactly how to deliver them. Not silently, not poetically, but in a way they would never forget. I woke up the next morning expecting the guilt to kick in. The same guilt they had trained into me since childhood. Usually, after a night of saying no, I'd crumble by sunrise and apologize just to stop the storm. But this time, nothing in me wanted to bend. My phone was overflowing with messages, most of them ugly. From Mom, "We didn't sleep last night because you refused to help." Shameful. From Dad, "Your sister is exhausted. You only think of yourself." From Lauren, "I told everyone you bailed. They're shocked. You're heartless." They were expecting panic. They were expecting me to rush over and beg for forgiveness. Instead, I made coffee, opened my blinds, and enjoyed the quiet. Around noon, Aunt Denise called. A rare call. She never got involved in family drama, which was exactly why her voice sounded so strange. "I'm sorry to bother you, Emily," she said softly. "But what happened last night? Your mom has been posting the strangest things." I sighed. They wanted me to babysit again. I said no. "And that's it?" she asked. "That's all you did?" "That's all." There was a long pause. Then she exhaled. "Emily, they told everyone you abandoned your sister and ruined their whole evening." "Of course they did. They always rewrote the narrative so I was the selfish villain and Lauren was the fragile saint who needed protecting at all costs. But then, Denise said something that changed everything. Your mother was yelling so loudly last night that the neighbors heard, and someone called me because they were concerned. They said the kids were running wild and Lauren was nowhere in sight." My jaw tightened. "Nowhere in sight?" "She went out with her boyfriend," Denise said. "Apparently she left the kids with your parents without warning." Again. A cold understanding washed over me. Lauren didn't need a break. She wanted a night off to go out. And my parents, too prideful to admit they couldn't control 4 children under 10, tried to force me into covering for her recklessness. I leaned back against my couch. "You're the only one who's asked what really happened." Denise hesitated. "Emily, people are starting to question things. Your parents are snapping at everyone. They're blaming you, but it's strange. They seem scared. Like something might get out." I felt my pulse. Steady. Not with fear, but with clarity. Of course they were scared. Because for the first time, the family wasn't immediately taking their side. For the first time, people were seeing cracks in the golden child perfect family story they'd curated for decades. For the first time, they weren't completely in control. After we hung up, I opened my phone and scrolled through Mom's posts again. The comments had changed overnight. What happened? Why is Emily being blamed for this? Why is Lauren going out if she's that overwhelmed? Why are 4 kids always being dumped on Emily? People were finally asking questions my parents hated. And then I saw a new post from Mom, written at 11:47 a.m. Family support is a two-way street. Some people don't deserve to be in this family anymore. Dozens of relatives had already seen it. Dozens of people were now quietly messaging me. Are you okay? What happened? Why would your mother say that? Is everything all right with the kids? And that's when something clicked so sharply inside me I nearly sat up straight. They wanted to threaten me with exclusion. They wanted to shame me publicly. They wanted to paint me as the selfish one. But they forgot one thing. They were the ones who depended on me, not the other way around. They depended on me for childcare. They depended on me for labor. They depended on me to keep up their perfect facade. They depended on me to never, ever speak. And now, I wasn't staying silent. Not this time. They wanted me gone? Fine. But they were going to learn what happened when the family member they treated like a servant stopped protecting them. For the first time in my life, I wasn't afraid of losing them. I was ready to make them lose me. And everything they gained from my silence. I didn't rush into revenge. I didn't scream. I didn't beg anyone to take my side. I simply stopped protecting them. And because they had spent 30 years building their entire identity on the illusion of being the perfect supportive parents, the fallout came faster than I expected. It started with a single family group chat message. I typed slowly, carefully. Since Mom said I'm not part of the family if I don't babysit, I want to clarify what happened. I told them I was exhausted and had work deadlines. They told me not to come. They screamed at me and blamed me for Lauren going out last night. They left me voicemails calling me selfish. I'm done being your free nanny. I'm done being used. I attached all 3 of the toxic voicemails from Mom, Dad, and Lauren. Then I hit send. Within minutes, reactions exploded. Shocked emojis, angry emojis, questions, relatives typing paragraphs. Lauren immediately called me, panicked. I didn't answer. Mom called next. I didn't answer her either. Then Dad left a voicemail filled with rage. His favorite tone. How dare you share private family recordings? You made us look horrible. Take that message down right now. But I didn't, because nothing I shared was exaggerated. Nothing was twisted. I didn't expose them to millions of strangers, just the family they claimed to be protecting. That was their weak spot, being ordinary, flawed, exposed. And the consequences came instantly. Aunt Denise messaged, "We always wondered why they leaned on you so hard. Thank you for speaking up." Uncle Ron wrote, "Emily, this is not okay. They treat you like staff, not family." And then, shockingly, Lauren's first ex, the father of her oldest 2 kids, replied, "They never let me see my kids without supervision because they said I was irresponsible. Meanwhile, they're dumping 4 kids on you?" My parents' perfect narrative was collapsing from all angles. But the real turning point came the next day. I got a call from Child Services, not because I reported anything, but because one of the neighbors saw Mom's Facebook post, saw Lauren's public ranting, saw 4 kids screaming in the yard past midnight while Lauren was out at a bar, and filed a report. And the kicker? My parents had told everyone I refused to babysit because I didn't care if the kids were suffering. So Child Services called me first. "Hi, Ms. Adams," the social worker said kindly. "We received a report concerning potential child neglect involving your sister's children. Your name came up as the relative who usually cares for them." I took a breath. I don't live with them. I don't care for them. My parents pressure me constantly to do it. "So you are not responsible for the children?" the worker asked. "No," I said, "and I won't be babysitting anymore. They've relied on me instead of establishing safe childcare arrangements. You can document that." She paused. "Thank you. That actually clarifies a lot. My revenge wasn't cruelty. It wasn't sabotage. It wasn't some dramatic theatrical move. It was telling the truth for the first time, and the truth was enough." A social worker visited my parents' home the next morning. Lauren nearly fainted. Mom called me screaming, "What did you do?" I answered calmly for the first time in my life. "I didn't do anything. This is what happens when you expect me to parent your children. You made them think we're unfit." "No," I said. "You did that yourselves." Dad grabbed the phone. His voice was trembling, not angry this time. "Emily, please, talk to them. Fix this." And just like that, everything shifted. For 30 years, I had been the powerless one. Now, they were the ones begging. "I'm not fixing anything," I said. "You fired me from the family because I wouldn't babysit. Remember?" He stuttered. "That was the heat of the moment." "No," I said. "It was the truth of the moment, and I'm done." I hung up, and the most shocking thing? They didn't yell again. They didn't bully. They didn't threaten. They fell silent. Because they finally understood. I wasn't afraid anymore. I wasn't under their control. They couldn't rewrite me into the villain when the whole family had heard their words. Lauren lost her free childcare. My parents lost their obedient scapegoat. And I gained something I hadn't felt since childhood. My own life. Weeks later, at a smaller family gathering hosted by Aunt Denise, I walked in and saw something I'd never witnessed before. My parents sitting alone at the end of the table, quiet, avoiding eye contact with everyone. Lauren sitting beside them with all 4 tired kids, overwhelmed and unsupported. Meanwhile, my relatives welcomed me with warm smiles. "Emily, sit next to us. Glad you came. You look happier." And I was, because the revenge wasn't destroying them. It was removing myself from their control and letting their own behavior do the rest. Mom looked at me with pleading eyes, like she wanted to apologize but didn't know how. Dad lowered his gaze when I passed by. And for once, they didn't call me selfish. They didn't order me to help. They didn't tell me to babysit. They knew better. Lauren whispered under her breath, "I can't believe you just left me to deal with everything." I looked her directly in the eyes. "I didn't leave you," I said softly. "I left the role you trapped me in." She opened her mouth, but nothing came out. I walked away, sat with the relatives who had supported me, and ate in peace. For the first time in my life, I wasn't the servant. I wasn't the fallback parent. I wasn't the disposable sibling. I was simply free. And freedom was the sweetest revenge they never saw coming. Please subscribe to our channel and tell us in comments from where are you watching this video.